Hello, scumbags, and welcome to Unleashed. It's me again, your fourth favorite person on this channel, Andrew Fantasia. Welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Here's what I want to talk to you about, my friends. This is something that's been on my mind for a few months now. I remember before Christmas, I sort of had this thought in my head, and I've been thinking of what to do with it. I have, my other channel, my Andrew Fantasia channel, which if you don't subscribe to, subscribe, please. It helps me out a lot. But I've been thinking of, doing a little thing about it on that channel because I have some video essays going on there. And I might still do that. But because Rebel Scum Podcast is first and foremost the place to go for Star Wars things, that's our official motto and everything, I decided, hey, let's put this on here. And I was like, hey James, hey Brock, can I do an Unleashed about this thought that I have? And they were like, no, we're trying to pretend we don't know you. But I snuck in anyway, and I uploaded this video without their permission for you, because I'm a rebel like that. So here is what I'm thinking, folks. This episode, this Unleashed, I want to talk to you about a certain man, a certain young fella who could use a haircut, named Kylo Tiberius Ren. Okay? Kylo Ren is somebody who is really starting to take this trilogy and make it his own. It's really starting to feel like a trilogy about Kylo Ren rather than a trilogy about Rey as we initially figured. And that's an interesting twist because, the original trilogy was about a guy who was always good. The prequels was about a guy who started off good and became bad. And now the sequel trilogy is about a guy who is always bad, all throughout those movies anyway. And the question has come up many times, many times, since the day we all walked out of The Force Awakens back in 2015. God, that was a long time ago already. But ever since that day, people have been asking the same question for 3 and a bit years now. That question being, is Kylo Ren going to be redeemed? When this trilogy closes, are we going to see Kylo Ren follow in the footsteps of his grandfather and cast away the dark side to emerge once more into the light? Now, the internet is filled with theories about how this will happen or how it will not happen and why. Our good buddy Josh from the Den of Nerds has tons of videos about Kylo Ren and Reylo and Ren's possible redemption and all that stuff you can check out on his channel. And I'm going to have some stuff on mine as well, the Andrew Fantasia channel. Subscribe! But my main point that I want to make here, what I believe, is this is what I would do if I was J.J. Abrams and I was writing my scripts and stuff. I think that this is exactly what I think is going to happen in Episode 9. And this would be the perfect way to end this movie in a very J.J. Abrams way and make it different from the rest of Star Wars. So here's what I believe. It's a pretty safe bet at this point that Kylo Ren is probably not going to live to see the end of this trilogy. By the time the end credits roll, I think most of us can agree that he's probably going to die. There are some people out there who think, oh, he'll be redeemed and we'll actually get to see him be a good guy, unlike Vader, who was redeemed and then died right away. He's going to carry on and maybe get like a white suit or something and be all like, I'm a good guy now, I'm a Jedi, and that would be cool too. That'd be cool to see. So there is a chance he might live. I'm not saying it's a sure bet he's dead, but I personally think he will be dead because it fits my theory here. So here's where it gets interesting, folks, and bear with me, okay? I think that J.J. Abrams realizes it's probably not in his best interest to end Kylo Ren's story in a manner that is just basically a cut and paste of what happened to Darth Vader. I think he knows at this point that we would all be a little bit bummed out if we walk out of this movie and Kylo Ren has, fought with Rey a bit, and then this bigger threat showed up, and he, at the last minute, is like, go Rey, I'll save you, and he gets shocked and he dies, and he's like, I'm good now. And Rey's like, he was good at the end, everybody. Let's all remember him as a good person. I just don't see that happening again because it's just too similar. And, we're already getting these little theories trickling through the web about how the Knights of Ren or something is going to show up in this film and become a bigger threat than Kylo. And while I like the idea of other things coming in, A, it's too late in the game. We're in the last movie of the trilogy. I don't know if that is going to work. And B, it's just a lot like Vader at this point. It just is a lot like Vader. So I think they're going to go a very different route. I think JJ is going to do what he does best. And he's going to give us an ending for Kylo Ren that is, wait for it, ambiguous. That was me trying to draw a question mark, and I think I did it right. Yes, that's what I think, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I think that Kylo Ren's loyalties, whether he is belonging to the darkness or whether he has come back to the light, by the time episode 9 ends, I believe it's not going to be as cut and dry as Vader, where we know. I think it's going to be ambiguous, because that is something that a Star Wars movie has never done yet. You know, Star Wars movies are great, and I love them, and they're all fantastic, and we all get excited about them when we watch them, and when we leave the theater, we're all excited again. We're like, hey, that was cool, remember this part, remember that part? But one thing a Star Wars movie has never, ever done is have us leave the theater and be like, so, how did you interpret that scene? Because here's how I interpreted it. That's never happened, as far as I can tell. What I think of when I say ambiguous, what I'm trying to get across is something along the lines of the final shot from Inception, okay? When we walked out of Inception, you know, there are some people who walked out of there thinking, I think the top was going to keep spinning and Cobb was still dreaming. And there are other people who are like, I don't know, that top looked like it was wobbling. I think it's going to fall over. I think Cobb is awake now. And there are other people still who are like, well, I think the point is that it doesn't matter because Cobb walked away, and that's the point. You know, it's a sort of thing that gets you talking. It's a sort of thing that creates theories after the movie. Because Star Wars is all about where we are right now, where it's theories, people theorizing online before the movie comes out. That's how it is. I think the Knights of Ren are going to be this. I think Kerry Russell's going to play this, and here's 5 reasons why. Star Wars has never been about, here are my theories about the end of what we just saw, because it was ambiguous. That's never been in a Star Wars. Again, as far as I can tell. I think that's going to change, baby. I think that when we walk out of episode 9, J.J. Abrams is going to pull some of his mystery box magic on us, and something's going to happen where, you know, like, let's say, for example, Kylo Ren is in a ship, and like, this is just pure off the top of my head, so this might not even make sense. I apologize in advance. But let's say Kylo Ren is in a ship, and his ship is smoking, and it's going down, whatever, and there's this big super weapon, right? Or, again, just throwing this out of my butt here. There's a super weapon, and it's pointing at all the good guys, and it's going to fire at them. And somebody shot at Kylo Ren's ship, and his ship is about to blow up. And, you know, Rey is talking to him over the radio, and she's like, why did you do this? Why blah, blah, blah? You're a bad guy. Why did you start the First Order? Etc., etc. And Kylo Ren, we see like some shots of Adam Driver, and he's looking out the window, and he's sort of pensive, and he's thinking, and the ship is smoking all around him, and he's going down. And we see his hands on the controls, kind of like when he was about to shoot Leia. And we kind of see him sitting there thinking. And then that's the last we see of his face. And then we just get a shot of his ship spiraling out of control. And it just so happens that his ship spirals into the super weapon and blows it up. And because the super weapon is destroyed, the good guys are saved. And there we go. That's the end. That would be something where, you know, we would leave the theater now, and the movie is asking us, J.J. Abrams is asking us, so guys, do you think Kylo purposely steered his ship into that super weapon? Do you think, you know, he saw the light, he returned to the light side, and he was like, I'm going to die saving these people, and steered his ship into the super weapon and saved the day? Or do you think it was just a coincidence and he happened to fly into it? I think it's going to be something like that. Something where maybe he was redeemed, maybe he wasn't. That's up to us to interpret. And the answer is not going to be cut and dry. Personally, I think that would be a beautiful way to end the Star Wars saga. And because this is the end, it's something we've never seen before, so we know walking out of it, we're never going to get that answer. It's just something that we get to speculate about for years to come. We're going to be talking about this movie for many, many years down the road, just like people were talking about Inception for many, many years after it ended. JJ, I think, wants that. I think he wants us to remember these characters and this trilogy as much as we remember Luke and Han and Leia and C-3PO and Salacious Crumb. Because right now, the trilogy is fantastic, so far, but you know, we're still living in that mentality of Luke and Leia and Han and the OT. So he wants to sort of leave that indelible mark with Star Wars and have it end in that way where it's... I talk about JJ as if I know him, but this is just what I'm speculating. He wants it to end in that way where we are talking about Star Wars for many years to come, but we're not talking about Empire or whatever anymore. Now we're talking about Episode 9, Attack of the Lookalike People, which is the official title. You heard it here first. Breaking news. That's a lie. But he wants us to be talking about Episode 9 and what that ending meant. And I can already see it. I can already see it stretching out in front of me right now like I'm some kind of fortune teller. I can see it on like screenrant.com. Here's 5 reasons why we think Kylo Ren redeemed himself. Or like, you know, some guy on YouTube who posts like this hour and 15-minute long video that's like, here is my very foolproof theory of why I believe Kylo Ren did not steer into the super weapon and how he did in fact die a villain, and here's why. And he presents this really gripping hour and 15-minute long video that's like, damn, that guy's right. I think he's got a point. Little things like that, I can already see that happening because that is what is so fascinating when we get stories like the top at the end of Inception or the final scene of The Sopranos, stories that are completely ambiguous and sort of take you on this journey inside your own head and take you to places you never even knew you'd go because you're just trying to guess and you're trying to come up with some answers. And that's what we love doing as Star Wars fans. We love to guess, we love to theorize. Like I said, we're going to spend all of 2019 up until December 20th theorizing about Episode 9 because that's how we roll with Star Wars. So I think it would be absolutely wonderful, considering this is the last one, if this is the kind of Star Wars that has us theorizing after we've seen it. So that is my theory regarding Kylo Ren. Will Kylo Ren be redeemed? My answer, I am putting Vegas money down on it right now. This is what I would do. Maybe, but that's up to us to interpret. And I think that's much more interesting than just a cut and dry answer to that question presented to us on film with a clear yes or no answer. I think it is infinitely more interesting to leave it ambiguous and have us come to our own conclusions and our own theories as to what might have gone on inside the head of Ben Solo during his last few moments in the galaxy. So what do you think of this idea, fellow scumbags? Do you think I am a big dummy who is dumb? Or do you think I'm an absolutely stunning, knockout, good-looking human being who has some good points? Either way, let me know in those comments. Tell us what you think. Tell James and Brock to make me canon, because I pretty much am. And don't forget, if you like talking about movies and other things with me, you can subscribe to my channel too. And look at this. I'm going to reach over here and grab this. This is my book Side Scroller. It's available on Amazon right now. You can get it in paperback. You can get it in ebook. You can get it as like a guy who comes to your house and just says it to you, like a shaman. That's not true. That's the next step. Kindle's not quite there yet. But it's a really fun book. It's a sci-fi adventure romance set in a world that runs entirely on video game logic. And I wrote it myself. That's my name right up there. So if you like me and if you like fun stuff like this, pick up the book. You will not be disappointed. I promise. But that has been Unleashed. I'm Andrew Fantasia. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. We'll see you around. Eventually, Episode 9 is crawling its way toward us. We'll have a lot more to talk about. And hopefully, if I'm right, we'll have even more to talk about after December 20th. I'll see you next time, my friends. Until then, may the force of others be with you.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.